And welcome to Everything Dies. I'm Ronaldus.
And I'm Jake. Today we have a hot
and fresh take on Mythos
by Warcradle Studios, formerly of Paranoid. Paranoid started off of a Kickstarter. It is a H.P. Lovecraft inspired game. Brand new on the market. It's just hitting. So if you want to get in on a game from the ground up, get in with the community, Mythos is one to look at right now.
But before we take a look into that, we're going to do a recap on some past videos and talk about some comments we may have had.
Yep, so last week we had a video going on about we're looking for a new main game. Dark Age died. Dark Age. We played a bunch of different games after that. We asked you guys what you've been playing. We got some good feedback.
Yeah.
Chester really went to bat for Infinity.
Infinity Code 1.
Said it's amazing. Code 1 is a new version of Infinity that's really just a beginner.
It's a skirmish game.
Yeah, it's a beginner level Infinity.
Isn't Infinity more of a mass army based game or not? Really?
I wouldn't call it mass army. No. It's still fairly skirmish, but you do. It's much bigger than Code 1. I know with Code 1 you do 3 rounds. Yeah.
Right. I believe so.
Yeah.
I watched some videos on it.
Yeah. So that did look interesting. It perked our interest. It has an app.
Yeah, I really like the fact that like how the combat's going. It's bouncing back and forth because once you're moving a character, your model, and if the enemy model can see line of sight,
anybody that sees him,
reaction time. Yep. It's time to fight. Which
we kind of got a feel of that with Mythos. Mythos a little teaser, but
a little bit.
When you fight, you're not safe if you're the attacker. You need to watch your ass.
They do more of what they call live combat, as to where if you're an attacker and you are losing, whatever you're losing by, you're going to take that in damage.
Yep. We had a couple more recommendations. Francois recommended Bushido, which is a game I've looked at before. It's
I haven't checked it out yet.
Yeah, it's like an Oriental mythology skirmish game. Really cool.
Does that quite a few factions?
It has a shit ton of factions.
Yep. Get your modeling collecting ready because you're going to buy it all.
It's by GCT Studios. Guess where they're out of? Where every fucking miniature game is out of. UK, yeah, another UK game.
Can we just move there?
And then Francois and Kyle both recommended Monster Apocalypse.
That sounds kind of cool. I think we talked about that game a couple of times. We talked about it at GT even.
It's like a kaiju game, so you got a city, and you got King Kong and Godzilla and a giant mechanical thing, and they're fighting each other. That one has piqued my interest also.
Kind of reminds me of the Rampage video game.
Yeah, yes, Rampage. Very good take. Kyle also recommended Riot Quest, which I've had my eye on. I love MOBAs, MOBA video games.
Yeah, MOBA's good to play.
And yeah, Riot Quest is kind of a board game MOBA. You have different heroes, different abilities, doing objectives. So that's one that's been on my eye too.
Riot Studios for League of Legends. I wonder if that has anything to do with that, or they maybe a little bit.
I didn't make that connection.
I think that's funny.
I mean, it's not full blown like Lane's MOBA, but it's definitely
Yeah, I understand.
Interesting. Well, back to our main topic today.
Oh yeah,
Mythos. So
we all know that I really love H.P. Lovecraft. You like the
I'm a fan.
deities and all that of Lovecraft. Is a nice sanity lost and make you go insane. You know there's never a happy ending. People are gonna die.
Yeah, I have at least 8 board games that are Lovecraft inspired. So I'm definitely a fan of it in general. Mythos. So I mean, I guess question number 1: did you feel the Lovecraft inspiration?
Yeah, I did. Quite a bit. With the characters, the abilities they have, the models itself are very well sculpted. Jake got some painted up. That is from the Wildborn.
That's from the Wildborn. Here's one from the Hidden Ones.
That's the faction I played today.
And I played the Wildborn. So the Hidden Ones are from Dunsmith. So
Dunsmouth, they kind of, Innsmouth and
Dunwich. So they're making their own little town, their own little spin on the lore.
We're going to look at the cards real quick, if you don't mind.
Yeah. The Wildborn faction is definitely, there's not just that guy. They have snakes and they have women kind of sacrificing themselves to these powers. That one gave me a Dunwich horror vibe because you had the family that had the child that was all messed up out in the woods and fucked up. I definitely got a vibe of that from the Wildborn. And they have... like 8 or 10 factions lined up already. There's one that's a group of cops
I know all of them aren't out yet, but they do have, like, for what's out, they do have a handful of them already out. And the
Brotherhood of Belial. So there's a group of cops that pissed off a cult, and they got cursed by a bat god. So some of them are transforming into like werebats and stuff. It looks.
So yeah, the rulebook does have a little bit of lore and background of the game. I mean, the rulebook is quite small.
Rulebook is this.
The game is pretty simplex once you get it.
Simplex.
Yeah.
Is that a mix of simple and complex?
Yeah. I make my own words, man.
Make
Fuck
my own
that
words,
shit.
bitch.
I mean, look at ain't became a word for some reason.
Yeah.
But,
so jumping over to the rulebook. So the rulebook is free online. The model profiles for what they have released so far, free online. Mythosthegame.com. We'll put a hyperlink, because I figured out how to do that. We'll put a hyperlink in the description to the website. The models don't come with cards. You have to get online, get the free cards, print them off.
They're
The base, this is my hand, like the base size, I didn't adjust the PDFs, is huge. Like half-page cards.
Obviously, you could change it up.
Yeah,
Put them out to the size you want.
You could. I like these bigger. There is so much.
No, we're old. We can't read very well. You're wearing glasses. I need to be wearing my glasses, but I choose not to.
There's so much on the card that if you shrunk this down to actual regular playing card size,
oh yeah, you'd be squinting.
You'd be fucked.
But what I don't like is Paranoid. When they were doing some battle reports on the game, when they brought it out with their Kickstarter, they had these black cards with the character cards that had the HP, their sanity, and all the conditions to where you could use a dry erase marker and just dot. Warcradle Studios going with more of a token.
Yeah, so you can buy a set for like $22, a Rules and Gubbins set. They do the same thing with their other game, Wild West Exodus, to where you for $22 you get the rule book, you get a spray template, blast template that they use. You also get a series of health, just little like board game chips, health, sanity markers. You get some objective things, but they're not the right size because the game, they're either small or large base objectives, so you have to put these on a base anyways. I guess it just lets you know that, hey, that thing there is an objective, so that's cool.
Right.
It also gives you 2 condition tokens per condition, which I think there are about 6, so you get 12 condition tokens.
If you're going to be playing with people, you might want to grab 2 of those.
It did come, oddly enough, it came with 4 custom kind of green gross Cthulhu dice.
But when you charge, you get 3.
When you charge, you get 3.
I guess
so
you just pass them back and forth.
So I like the Rules
Obviously,
and Gubbins set.
gaming.
Yeah.
Everyone's going to have D6s, right?
Hopefully. I like the Rules and Gubbins set, but it's not enough for 2 players.
No.
You really need 1 per player if you want to use the contents of this exclusively.
Especially when it comes to the health and the...
And conditions. Dude, we had conditions out there.
The conditions, yeah.
All over the fucking
That's what I was saying. Like the card that Paranoid had out, I don't know if they sent it out with the game or if you could just print it off, but like having your health, your sanity, and the conditions on that card, dry erase marker, just dot, easy to go.
Because I would say that was probably the most difficult part of this game.
Trying to keep track.
Looking for, I need a 5 wound token. We're out of 5s. Okay, well, how much sanity do I have? Oh, I knocked the tokens off my card because I had to flip it. But that's not a bad thing. If the hardest part of the game was dealing with the supplied materials, you can use your own shit if you want. You could use dice to track wounds.
Exactly.
Stuff like that. I ended up using my own. I love these magnetic
You can maybe even
markers.
make cooler looking sanity tokens and health tokens yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of people have 3D printers now.
For $20 to get the rules,
It's
to get some dice, to get some tokens, to get the template.
How much was the box sets for the models?
I want to say I paid maybe $38. And you get
the whole
5
faction, or what? Do they have?
So as of right now, you buy 1 box of that faction. So you want the hidden ones, you want the Wildborn, you want the Priori, which are the good guys. You buy 1 box for $40. Boom, that's it. That's your faction. Each one comes to about 100-point faction list. What I've heard them say online is if the game is successful enough, they're just going to release a second box set for all the factions. So it's super simple to buy into. For the 20, well, you don't even have to get this $20 rulebook if you want, because that's all free online. So for 2 faction boxes, $65, $80, somewhere around there, you'll have 2 full-blown factions ready to go which is pretty cheap in this hobby.
Yeah, man, the models are sickly
Models are
nice.
beautiful.
Detail is wonderful. Painting those are going to be such a blast.
I don't know exactly if they're resin or plastic because it's been, I think I got them about a month ago. They were definitely not the shitty, not shitty, a lot of people like it. There's this resin that's just covered in flash and mold lines, and if you clip it, it'll just break. It wasn't that super brittle resin, but it held the detail great. I mean, absolutely great. Beautiful models. Let's get into the rules. So we've touched on lore. Lore's, I mean, there's not a ton of it, but it's Lovecraft. Like, each faction gets like a page in the book. There's an opening story that's like 6-8 pages. The book's got some artwork, nothing crazy expansive, but you can find some more stuff online.
You got your scenario spot.
It came with 5 scenarios. The rules themselves, you're going to read this book, and you're going to say, that's it.
Mm-hmm.
Models get, dude, it's pretty self-explanatory.
Most of your information are on the cards.
Yes.
In the rule book. That's
where it starts getting complicated. Okay, so I can charge, I can shoot. If I'm doing a combat attack against you, you roll combat defense. Easy. Mm-hmm. Ranged attack, ranged defense.
Well, yep.
Arcane attack, arcane defense. That simple. And you're rolling 2d6, adding it to a stat. So we got some stats up here. You'd add your 2d6. You're either trying to beat the other guy, or you're trying to get to 13.
Right.
So the game is simple.
It is very simple.
But then once you start playing,
you got special abilities.
You have attack abilities. You have mythos abilities. And then you have
those are just our
passive
abilities.
Passive abilities, always active.
Blocking my face.
Sorry. So my faction, the Wildborn, they were very much a hurt yourself to get better. Every single one has an ability called Blood Magic. At the start of the turn, activation. At the start of their activation, they can take a wound to gain some benefit. And it was actually different for each model. And so that I very much got that vibe from them. They want to hurt themselves to get better. And they were kind of beefy, not beefy enough in the end. But that was kind of how I felt the Wildborn play. How'd you feel about Hidden Ones?
Hidden Ones, more magic based. Well, it's kind of like half and half almost. A lot of magic. I mean, my leader is going to be the Dunsmouth Witch. You got 2 sides of the cards for when they do the sanity flip.
Your models can go insane.
But yeah, for the Hidden Ones, you got Molly Malone. My Dunsmouth Witch, pretty heavy in arcane damage. The Fisherman King is more of close combat. He does have his harpoon where he can shoot, but you want to be flipped. The special thing about him, though, is he can just spend 1 Mythos at the beginning of the round, flip his card, and be lost his sanity.
Which that was unique in this game. He was the only one that could choose to flip. Yeah. Otherwise, they had to, if they gained a certain amount of madness through the game, they forced to flip.
That golden number says a 2. That would have been the number. If you got 2 madness, automatically flip.
But then you had other stuff like the Dunsmouth Witch.
Now, with the Dunsmouth Witch, as you can see, there's no number. Once again, let's go to the Click-Clack. No number.
Yeah, so
even the Fisherman King didn't have a number because, like I said, he had Mythos, or he could spend a Mythos in the beginning. But with the Dunsmouth Witch, she's like the mother of like some of these
She's
crazy,
breeding these nasty things.
Yeah, so loss of a child makes her flip. If Click-Clack or the Angler, which Angler, this model
gross little fish dude.
And Click-Clack was the nice
big old giant crab. You've seen a few that size, I bet, before.
Yeah, I pick them out and eat them
down
when
your
I'm
pants,
done. Yeah. But
I
like
shaving
seafood.
That shit.
I do. They just barrel themselves in like ticks. That's how big they are, you know.
That's the Michigan crabs, man.
I know. That's why I have you rip them out for me once in a while. That's
so,
anyways, but yeah. So if the Click-Clack or the Angler died, she would flip, making her even stronger with her just her. It's called Mother's Rage for arcane damage.
Makes her stronger. Makes her better at attacking.
But the model that killed the Angler or Click-Clack gets marked, and that marked character is now. The Dunsmouth Witch, she is enraged by her kids dying from that model.
So she has to attack them.
Line of sight. If line of sight is there, where in our game where we played, I made sure to keep out of line of sight.
I fucked up.
Because I wanted to attack certain models that were there, and he never brought the marked model into line of sight for me towards the
And
end.
let's go over this flipping thing so we make sure people get it, because I feel like that's a main focus of this game.
It is main
so you
focus.
have a normal side of your card, and then you have a flipped altered side. Some of their stats will change, their abilities will change, their attacks will change. So yeah, Dunsmouth Witch, like he just said, she actually gets stronger attacking, but she has this limitation of if she can see the dude who killed her children, she has to attack that person. Whereas my leader, Dorothy Good and Blood, who's this like witch leader who's joined with this giant snake. I'd show you the model, but I don't have it painted yet. Although we could show an unpainted model just to show the detail on these bad boys. Just hand me any of those ones over there.
I like this one from the Wildborn.
So this is Lauren from the Wildborn. She's like a centaur beast creature. I mean, not painted, and we don't have the greatest equipment yet. Man, how do we get that to focus? Like this?
It's a cell phone camera, bro.
It's better than the laptop camera we were using.
That's true. But also,
just beautifully detailed models.
Go back to Dunsmouth Witch. Because those cards can flip back to their natural state. And if for the Dunsmouth Witch, if the marked model is killed, then she does flip back over.
Yeah, so you're not necessarily stuck on this side the rest of the game. Certain ones have an ability to flip back over. What's good about that, and some people get stronger on the other side, some people get weaker, some it's a mix. Because my leader, she has these really good abilities to buff her crew. So see the blue? You flip that over when she goes insane, she loses it. But she also then just becomes better at combat. So it's this mix. And when you're flipped at the start of the round, you're taking madness checks.
Yep.
Which you can end up being paralyzed, you can become fatigued, or like one of my models, her brain opened up to an entity from the other side and it just ripped her off the table and destroyed her instantly. It's like, very, very cool.
When that happened, it helped me out quite immensely on that turn.
So there is a certain gamer that I think should be cautious with this game. If the idea of a random dice roll removing your best model from the game, if that would infuriate you, maybe stay away from Mythos.
Or if you're attacking and you fail horrible with your attack and you don't want to get attacked back while it's your turn attacking, don't play because, like we said a little bit earlier, let's say the attacking person rolled a 15 and then the defense person rolled a 21.
Yep.
That's a 6 difference on the defense being higher. That attacker is taking 6 points of damage.
Yeah.
And you can even spend a Mythos to add a special ability off your weapon.
So each character, the screen number, generates a certain amount of Mythos to the crew that you can spend each round. If you spend it, though, you then make a sanity check to where you're gaining this madness, which is making you flip. But I just lost my train of thought. Where were we going with that?
You were talking about Mythos.
Mythos. What did you just say?
I was talking about how you can spend a Mythos
Spending Mythos.
Add on your weapons.
Yes, okay.
If you look right here, it's going to say fatigue. That's your Mythos ability. So if you do spend a Mythos, you can put fatigue.
After successfully attacking, you
and
can
then
put
there's
these
blind, there's bleed.
Paralyzed, vigor, which is a good one. It's extra AP.
That's like a buff, yep.
Yeah, there's burning. There's only like 6 conditions, so it doesn't get too crazy to remember. But that's the thing. If I attack you and I suck on my roll, I'm the one taking damage. I'm the one being afflicted with these conditions. And there's a crit fail in this game. So if you roll 2d6 and you roll double ones, or on a charge 3 ones, all ones, you count as 0. You count as 0 for your score. And it's the difference is what the damage is.
Yeah, it's 0.
So if it's 0,
fucks you hard.
Yeah, and I do really good. If I get a 20 on my dice roll, yeah, you take 20 fucking wounds in one hit. Well, gee, how much is 20 wounds? My leader has 20 health. So one bad roll could kill her, which is about what happened with one of my characters. Oh, my centaur chick.
That's what happened with my angler.
And your angler, yeah. One roll, just boop, gone.
So
leaders, things die.
Leaders get... So the models have 2 AP action points. Leaders get a +1, making them have 3. So your rest of your models have 2. Do you know of any models that only have 1?
Nope.
Nope. Neither do I.
Not off the top of my head. But yeah, it's just... So we've kind of rambled enough about the game. What did you think about it? Your fresh take.
I enjoyed it quite a bit, but then again, like the models itself draw me in. Like I said in my top 5 video, or it wasn't even a top video. I like looking at the models first, and then I kind of look at their stats, and that kind of deters on if I'm going to play that faction or not. So I want it to go kind of with my play style, but I also want the models to look gorgeous, and that's without paint. I want to be able to paint them and make them even look better. So the game-wise, I really liked the combat. I liked that live combat. Now, I'm not saying that would work with every game. With this game, I feel like it works pretty well. I do like the whole going insane part, flipping the characters, having two different sides.
Which adds more complexity.
Yeah.
So you might memorize, okay, yeah, I'm sitting here, I'm reading the front of my card. I know what he does. They flip over, and it's like, oh, shit, you lost that ability, gained this ability, my stats went up or down. Mm-hmm. At one point, you were using the wrong attack stat with your witch.
I was.
Because you're like, oh, she's like 2 better on this side.
Yeah. Because I was just memorizing the stat up from her first attack.
I really enjoyed the game, too. Now, the rules are simple. On the table, it is more complex. And what you do, what should you activate? There were times where I'm sitting there looking at it. The scenario, there's 5 scenarios in the book. We played Tomes of Power. So you're going out to get these 3 objective points. Once you get it, you can read the book.
Yeah, and you don't know how many points you're getting.
Yeah, they're worth random. 1, 2, or 3.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not really a kill-based objective we played today. And man, there were times where it's like, well, should I charge that person so maybe I could kill him? But then I have this book over here that I need to read for the points.
Yep.
So there's a lot of tactical decision making.
A lot of tactical decision because, I mean, I haven't read any of the other scenarios, but with ours, the ones we played, you get your victory points, you got first blood, you kill whoever kills the first model.
Yep.
We won't talk about what you thought it was.
Wow.
We thought it was first wound.
We were rushed.
Video game.
It's called first blood.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
Kill him.
We were rushing.
Anyways.
If you would read the rule books
and then, hey, I'm doing good. And you get whoever kills the leader, both
pushing
sides.
me off camera, that's what you're doing good at.
Yeah.
Fucking
get in my space. But anyways. Yeah.
Trademark, we're getting sued right there. We're
probably.
Getting sued.
I don't know. Maybe they want to do a video with us. No. They don't even know who we're talking about.
No.
Anyways. Killing the leader, each person can win that, get 1 point for that, and then like we said, there was 1, 2, and 3 points. You didn't know what was underneath of them until you actually got the book in your hand and you got to see how many points you were getting. Then you had to spend you got the madness.
You gain madness for reading this book, gaining the victory points. So so there was 3 scoring conditions.
If someone holds that book, instead of attacking them while in base combat, you can actually take that book from them and try to disengage so you can read it next turn or however it may be.
If you attack them with a range attack, you could just rip it right off them, I think. I'm not sure you had to be engaged, so that would be a whole nother element.
If so, then I played my guys horribly wrong, and I could have even...
Oh, no, it's a successful combat attack, not range attack. Okay, yep, so you have to be in base-to-base with them, which so far in this game... base-to-base for melee. There's no. Some games have 1-inch, 2-inch reaches. I didn't see. Yeah, I didn't see that across this game, which makes it simpler again.
Yep.
The rules are free, so we don't go into super detail. You can go to mythosthegame.com. We'll have a link and check out the rules, check out the stat cards.
Yep. Eventually, do you think we'll do a battle report on this game once we get the equipment?
Absolutely.
I think we'll do a battle report on this. I enjoyed this game. I'm probably even going to buy into it eventually.
Everything Dies is kind of in an alpha stage right now. We don't have what we need to have a good-looking, good-sounding YouTube channel right now. Podcast. This stuff is being ordered. The mail is pretty slow right now. It's coming. Eventually, we'll be doing battle reports. There is some flaws with this game with the rules. There's a couple wording things.
Yeah, what did you find that made us kind of cringe a little bit?
So this game would definitely hurt in a tournament scenario, because in a tournament, you need crystal clear wording.
Yeah,
so
don't want to be questioning all the time and trying to get a judge in.
One phase of the game is the madness phase. I'll just read it word for word. In initiative order, players roll on the madness table for any of their characters that have reached or surpassed their madness threshold. Apply the results immediately. Like we said, not all the characters have a madness threshold, but they do still flip to the other side.
Yep.
So Renal's crew, you only had 2 models with a madness threshold.
Correct.
Where I had 4. You don't want to be flipping on that madness chart. Especially it is bad news.
If you roll low like he did with one of his characters where they just
gone. Just removed from the full health, gone from the game. So the wording on this,
like crazy.
Yeah, the wording on this says only characters that have reached or surpassed their madness threshold. Well, I saw on the Facebook group, I want to it's just called the Hidden Ones. Maybe can we throw links to Facebook groups and YouTube descriptions.
Yeah,
Whatever.
We can put links in.
One of the game creators said that no, anybody flipped on their altered side has to roll during this phase. So that's some wording they need to clean up. If you jump and you fail a jump, it just says the character falls. Well, where does the character fall? Because if I have a 7-inch movement and I'm trying to jump from this dock all the way over to this dock, do I fall in base contact with me? Do I fall in base contact over here? And all that matters where I would fall.
Oh, you're trying to say, are you able to actually jump across to land on another platform?
Yeah, yep, you're able to do. It didn't come up in this game. This came up in my first game with my wife. The jumping thing. It just says if the test is failed, the character falls.
Oh, yeah, so I'm assuming they just fall right when they leave that area.
You would assume, but then my wife was arguing, no, I tried to make it over to this platform and fall here. Now, what matters is, because just the amount you could move is different.
Yeah, that would be a little... Yeah, because if
but
you
then,
tried...
also, if you have different levels of elevation, you would take different fall damage depending on where along that jump you fell. So that needed to be cleaned up.
How about that movement one you were talking about with your character on the charge?
So there's something that didn't feel good with a specific character of mine. Mercy Good. Her blood magic. She can suffer 1 wound to gain +1 MV. MV is how far you move when you spend 1 AP. If you spend 2 AP, you can charge, and then you move a different distance and get to attack. Well, this blood magic, I don't know if it was on purpose or not. This does not add to her charge move. It only adds to...
you would want it to. If you're going to take a wound, like, shouldn't it add to your move or your charge, depending on which movement you're going to take?
So for me, in the situation I was in, it would
have helped you out immensely if you would have had that on your charge.
Yeah, if I could have added to my charge, I could have got in and hit somebody, whereas I just didn't bother using it because being able to move but not charge, it didn't really matter. So there's little things across the game where the wording could be touched up, or the...
Very new, though, like we said, right?
Intent.
I wonder how much errata is going to be happening.
Well, and that's another thing. Warcradle, if you're not familiar, it's a living game. That's why the cards don't come in the boxes, because they are always errating, always changing the rules, always listening to their community. It's all free. So they will look at this as more people play this game. Like we said, this is hot and fresh, baby.
Hot and fresh.
Hot and fresh. This game just came out. The stuff I bought was actually pre-order shit. So yeah, it's brand new. So they'll be taking a look at it and touching up on things. But just to make you aware, if you get interested in this game off this video...
Warcradle's shop the only shop you can get this stuff from right now?
Absolutely not. If you're in the U.S...
Where would you order it from?
GadzooksGaming.com or Discover Games out of Atlanta. Okay. I've ordered from both websites. Both have good customer service. Both have
we like
good shipping.
Gaming.
Yeah, we had a little thing going with Gadzooks before when we had the podcast. But yeah, I guess we should wrap this up. Final thoughts? I liked Mythos.
I liked Mythos as well. I hope it has a decent community where they kind of evolve with the game a little bit more before it dies or is no longer supported.
Well, here's the thing. I'm not sure.
I have a feeling that it's probably going to kick off pretty well. I really like the rules. Like, it's different, you know? It's another different game. Like, you can't compare this to Malifaux. You can't compare it to Dark Age. Totally different type of game. Models are gorgeous. Rule sets are pretty simple, but yet complex with the cards and having to flip with sanity. And it's still very tactical on what you're going to do and how you're going to gain those points.
I'm not sure if this is the kind of game that would be hurt that bad by becoming unsupported. Because to me...
Yeah, probably not.
You could do tournaments of this, but with some of the random nature...
I don't think it's going to be really focused as a tournament game.
I think it's more a play-at-home game.
I think it's more of a skirmish campaign.
Bust out some beers.
I think there's going to be some people that can make some crazy scenarios with some awesome lore dove into it, like written into it. And I feel like people might even put those online for us to play.
Yep.
Depending on how it works, maybe they'll come out with more scenarios, more of like an actual campaign, like
I'm sure
make it more story driven.
They supported Wild West Exodus with that.
Yeah,
they released a whole PDF of just scenarios.
Yeah, I feel like this would be a very awesome story driven skirmish campaign game.
Yeah, so models were great. Gameplay was simple but good.
I think we're ending this, right?
The game is Mythos by Warcradle. I liked it. You liked it.
I think
that's our hot and fresh take, man.
You guys have a great night.